So there's a question from Dr. Hardeep Singh. How to maintain distance between hospital staff in less space clinic?
I think you people in Delhi have no idea what is less space. But
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, in Mumbai, we know what is space and we value every inch that, the clinics are sold per square inch, not per square foot or square yard as in Delhi. So yes, it is a real problem. The whole thing is, do you need that many staff? If you're in a tiny clinic and you've got 4 receptionists sitting there because you could afford it at that time, and 4 receptionists crowded to see here your patient load and flow is going to be less. Let, as Kamal correctly said, give them a roster of duties, rotation of duties. So instead of having 4 receptionists, have only 1 receptionist sitting at a time. And the next week, the second one will come. The next week, the third one will come. Or 50% or 25%. So reduce the staff. See that your staff is moving around instead of sitting in one place. And I'm sure you can manage in the tiniest of clinics by reducing non-essential staff. Give them, retrain them, as Kamal correctly said. Give them other work to do. Some of his people who are engaged in something else are now doing something else in the clinic. So use only the minimum staff required.
I'd just like to add, sir, I think you said it beautifully, because I did get the opportunity to visit a few clinics in Mumbai. At that point, I realized that we in Delhi are blessed to have, 15,000, 20,000 square feet clinic. So, but what I agree with you is that as it is, the work is not there. So why call all the staff? Just because the more staff you call, you'll be crowding them and you're putting more people at risk, within inverted commas. So have a limited staff as required for the amount of appointments. So this is where the point which I said is very important. We should all move to an appointment-based practice. We at Sharpside were already at 68% appointments, and now we're practically moving to 90% appointment practice, which is at least telling me beforehand how much the patient load I expect tomorrow. So I can coordinate my staff, my optoms, my PCTs, my reception, my pharmacists, my optical counters. So everything can be done. You don't need to call everybody, as Dr. Kuresh said, and I think that can be very well managed. Any questions, Jaya?
So what I will just add a point that you are absolutely right, Kamal and Kuresh, both of you said the right thing. So what we have done is 2 clinics. So we have split the staff into 50-50. We are working only 4 hours a day. So technically one staff will work only 1 week in a month, and they are rotated. So staff becomes less than half, they become almost quarter. And we are going purely by appointment. All practices are different. Like if you go to South India, Sri Ganesh gets 500 emails per day to answer as appointments, and we hardly get emails per day to give appointments. So Mumbai is still based on a system, I think Kuresh will agree with me, where they make a call to the clinic, take an appointment and then appear. So it's a very regional kind of a thing. And same way we are facing a big problem here in Mumbai is lockdown still being there. There is absolutely no transport. So the patients which are actually reaching the clinic are only those who have their own vehicle. Otherwise, they can't reach the clinic.
I would like to add one small point. There is another angle to this. I am working in Sir Gangaram Hospital. It is a multi-speciality hospital.
Yes.
So here we have 10 consultants. So every day they are calling only one consultant in the ophthalmology department. So it is divided to 1 to 2 consultants. And why it is also important to alternate the staff is because just in case one team or one specific team gets COVID, he has to at least go quarantine for a few days. During those time period, if your whole staff has to go to quarantine, then it will not be possible to run your clinic. So always have some people in reserve at least during these times. That is a very important factor. So if everybody gets COVID positive, then few days your clinic is gone, whatever you might try.
One very
That's why I think it's a good idea to rotate.
One very take-home message for small clinics and clinics which are not maintaining a record. Okay, kindly maintain a record. So if that patient has come on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, your clinic should know exactly which staff was on duty. So it can so happen that after 1 week, a patient gets COVID positive, they trace it back to your hospital. You should not struggle to find out that day on Monday, which staff was there, unka check karao. So best is your internal record should maintain very well which staff has come on that day on a day-to-day basis. So then there's no struggle. If there is an inquiry after 10 days, just say, okay, on that day, these people were present, tell them to lay off, get their COVID test done, and then think ahead.
That's where
I think-
digital attendance and digitalization and
Yeah,
appointment system
I think
helps.
beautifully brought out, Kumar. We do that. We have a biometric attendance, and there are Excel sheets of people who came or who are supposed to come on that day. So those Excel sheets are circulated on WhatsApp. So I think this is something very good you brought out for small practitioners to maintain a register or an attendance so that it is done in a very meticulous manner. I think
don't know what
very
the
well.
panel has to say because we are not permitting biometrics at the moment.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing, that
You know,
biometrics to be avoided.
Yeah, is actually a point of spread. So even if they clean their hand, it's not correct according to me. So I'm actually not allowing biometrics at the moment in my clinic.
Same here.
Actually, we are doing biometric with a card system. We have cards also. They don't need to
Yeah.
touch the machine. So that's
Correct.
correct.
That's fine.
Just a minute, Kumar. We do a biometric on a phone punch system. When my employee
I
enters
understand.
the hospital, he enters the IP address of the Wi-Fi. He logs in from his phone. He doesn't touch the biometric there.
Okay.
His
Right.
phone has to enter the premises for him to log in. He doesn't.
There are
touch
other ways also. Face recognition biometric is also now easily
Yeah.
and cheaply available. So not very difficult.
Okay, let's move on, Jaya.
Going further, I would just bring out two questions which I would like Dr. Qureshi to answer. It was by Dr. Sunil Narang. He just asked that how practical it would be to provide sterile gowns to all the surgical patients, as it was mentioned. Maybe Dr. Kamal can also contribute in the OT. So Dr. Kamal is raising his hand, so I think he wants to answer it. Please, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, Kamal.
What we've done is we all are using disposable sterile gowns for the surgeons. I have a stock lot of nearly 90 cotton gowns which were lying with me. So what I've done is I just put them into a recycle in the evening. They are all autoclaved and they are packed and for the patients to walk in the operation theater. So what it does for me is I don't want the patient to be carrying in anything external from his surface. So he's wearing shoe covers, he's wearing a cap, and he's wearing a 3-layer mask handed to him outside the theater. All I need to give him is an autoclave sterile gown. So when I say a sterile gown, it's not a disposable sterile gown given to the patient. It's an autoclave sterile gown. And we have, I'm sure we all have ample of them lying in our stores because none of us is using an autoclave gown now. So those gowns are being now brought back into service. So as I mentioned in my conversation, it's about getting to best of whatever you have. So we
Not only that, Kamal, it's a very feel-good factor for the patient.
Absolutely.
When he's, he feels half a surgeon when he's made to wear an autoclave sterile gown, and he really feels that we are doing something for him which is out of the ordinary. So even psychologically, it tends to help to have a sterile gown being put. And as Kamal correctly says, all of us have this in stock with us already.
And so the best thing is we give them a fresh cap, we give them a shoe cover, we give them a mask. So as you said, the experience of the patient is, now here is an organization which is taking care of me and themselves.
So just a question to the panelists, like what do you feel that is it really necessary or we can even do with the normal washed gowns which are not autoclaved?
Can I say something?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Dr. Kumar.
Yes, what I'm doing is, I don't know what the panel thinks on this, is I have a lot of these disposable.
Yes, Kumar.
I ETO them. And then
Right, sir.
wear them. Anything wrong in that?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Kumar, whatever works for you.
Actually, I want to put in a point that all these PPE kits, etc., the sterility is not as important. They have to be clean. And once they are cleaned with soap and water disinfects the hand, the face, and everything. So once they are cleaned with soap and water, sterility is not the main issue. It has to be clean, and when it is done in soap and water, it is fine because we are not doing operating through the gown or anything. So I think it should be a washed gown. Newly washed gown should be as good as a autoclave. I don't think so is really required because
I
this will
understand.
kill the virus.
I agree with you, Neeraj. I just like to add a point. I agree with you 100%. But I don't know, 4 days post-op, I come to know that there was a patient who was COVID positive and the gown has gone for washing to the laundry. So it just for the reassurance of my team. Basically, it's more for my team that they know even the patient walks in with a sterile gown. So
No, sir, like if you are, sir, just to interrupt, like if your patient was COVID positive and you have given him a sterile gown, it goes to the laundry, it would still have that infection load, whether it was pre-autoclaved or not. How much difference will it cause?
Yeah,
The laundry person would be exposed equally if it was autoclaved or it was not autoclaved.
Definitely.
No, Sri,
Only if you
that's
throw
what I'm
the gowns.
saying. That is what I'm saying.
I want to point
Rather
out
than
that
going to
rather
the
than
laundry-
making, I would like to point out that we need to give those SOPs which are practically more user friendly.
Definitely.
Instead of increasing the load of the autoclave every time, like you are asking somebody to autoclave all the gowns, and you are increasing the load of the autoclave, the electricity with all the commercial things going so high. I think if you are giving a pretty well washed gown, which is well washed in your laundry, would serve the purpose very good.
I understand,
Not
Piyush,
to
but in
share
case
with
you heard my talk, it was about the practices I do.
Yes,
One
sir,
more
yes, sir.
thing is, I'll understand, but I probably you're one of those lucky ones who's got 50, 60 surgeries happening every day. So there's a lot of load for gowns for you. At least in my practice, I don't have that kind of load. So anybody who's doing a lot of number of surgeries every day, yes, the gown load could be a trouble. Maybe you are having 50, 60, 70, 80,
No,
100 surgeries a daily.
I am putting a question of Dr. Sunil Narang actually, sir. 50,
So
60
logic
surgeries is of
says
course a
every
dream.
day we
Let
are
us be,
maximum surgeries, we're doing 20, 30 surgeries a day. That's it.
yeah, my whole idea is that let us put the house is there to give their consensus. Everybody is following their own SOPs. So just a consensus, as Dr.
Yeah.
Qureshi said,
See, washing
that the
works fine.
take home message to the public should be such that let us give us what is really
Perfect.
practical and
Perfect.
useful
I
for
agree with you.
everybody.
I agree with you.
Go ahead.
And as long
go
as
ahead.
you dried the gowns in the sunlight where the UVC is good, you know,
True.
222 nanometers to anything between 222 to 250 is good enough to kill the virus in 30 minutes. That also works good enough.
Even
Yes,
soap
sir.
and water is good enough. Good quality
Yeah.
soap, and not to share the gowns with any one
Absolutely.
patient should not share the gown with the other patient, and how to dispose of those gowns. Otherwise, the
200%.
only alternative is to throw the gown after every patient, which is
I-
again very impractical.
I think
And
what-
going, second question by the same person was Dr. Sunil Narang. He had asked that if we put a tape, a micropore tape on the mask of the patient, that would actually make a patient feel very suffocated or very claustrophobic. So what is the practice which the surgeons out over here are being following? Dr. Kumar would like to answer.
So I've tried this. You know, it's, if you I've just started surgery recently. I did few last week and today. If you put a mask, even when you're cleaning with betadine, patients are not very happy, and they are not used to wearing it. Whatever you try to say, you pull the mask down, you clean the whole eye with betadine. They try to pull the mask down. So this is a struggle I was finding today with one of the patients. So they're normally trying to pull it down below the nose because then they feel that okay, now they can breathe. So we tell them that we try to give them from a normal mask that they are wearing, we give them an autoclave mask which we have in our center to wear, and we don't mind if they go below because then our drape goes above the nose. So I'm just trying to protect myself that way. And anyway, our cataract surgery doesn't take more than a few minutes. So we
Right, sir.
tell them that this is one thing. Why I talked about ETO gowns that I give to the patient, because we have lots of gowns which are disposable. I ETO them, and ETO is not very expensive. It's only about 75 rupees for a can, and you can at one time ETO 6-7 gowns. So I just thought it a little safer, more practical, and not very expensive. What I thought Kamal was doing was expensive because your electricity bill will go up quite a bit. So I was just trying to save on that side and putting ETO gowns and which are sterile, which we think are sterile and which is good enough for the patient to wear and go. So I do make them wear a mask down. I cover the rest of the eyes. Only this part is exposed, as we all do during a surgery. And that's how I'm taking care.
And we can
I
use
believe
those
it-
watertight drapes. Watertight drapes are very important. For retina surgery, we are doing that.
Yeah.
I believe in this COVID era, everybody is trying to experiment and make himself more safe and their patients more safe, and making the looking into the patient's comfort as well. I also tried a trick into it where we just connected an oxygen cylinder to a small rice tube which was cut from the front, and we just put it inside the mask of the patient so that it acts like an oxygen tent and the patient doesn't feel that claustrophobic in this. So basically, I would say just trying a few tricks.
How much does the rice tube cost per patient?
Sir, it does cost, but I didn't look into the cost. What
Not
we
for
do
all
is
patients.
we keep cutting it, and not for all, whosoever feels claustrophobic. But just for the safety sake, I am being particular that I don't allow the patient to put down the mask below the nose because of the fear within us also that, you know, the aerosols from the patient's nose are damn more contagious than the aerosols which are arising from the phaco probe at the wound junction.
Yes.
So this is a very interesting question. In setups where phaco tips and few other instruments are continued for consecutive cases, any suggestions how we should space our surgeries now?
They have to
Kamal.
stop. My answer is they have to stop and they have to change.
Can I answer?
Exactly.
Retina surgeries also, like I told. Same
We
for retina
cannot,
surgeries.
we cannot in this era go on using the same tips for all the patients. It's impossible now.
Okay.
Dr. Kamal wants to, yes, Dr. Kamal.
See, what I'll do is earlier, probably max what we were using a tip was for maybe 2 patients. And by the time you finish that, then the next trolley would be ready. But I agree with what Piyush said is in this era, I don't think we should be doing that. What a average practitioner should probably now invest in is maybe right now or in the future is have more handpieces and not more many machines, have more handpieces and have extra. I'm not saying make a complete new set, but the most frequently used instrument in your set are maybe 3 or 4. Have repeated numbers of those and have maybe let's have 2 or 3 basic sets, and the number of instruments you use a lot, keep a ratio of them more, have more hand pieces, have one machine, because I don't think right now we can actually practice one tip, one hand piece, one instrument, doing 5 surgeries and then changing for the next one. Those times are gone now.
Actually, what we are practicing at our center is that we are placing the surgeries in the whole day. Like if we have 9 hours of working, in one particular hour, we are just calling in 3 patients, and
Wonderful.
we are trying to just autoclave the instruments in between. That, as Dr. Kamal rightly pointed out, in a flash autoclave, the set goes inside, and in that time, particularly the OT is disinfected by the time the next patient is called in. And once the next patient is ready, we have a fresh set and fresh everything placed for the patient over there. Anything,
Dr. Quresh, your comments?
I am basically shifting more to SICS now. And so therefore the phaco, but I agree with all of you that the era of using the same phaco tip is gone, and the faster everyone realizes it, the better it is. There is no shortcut. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Kumar, your opinion?
Yeah, you have to change like what you said. Only problem is this is going to really limit our number of cases in all the centers. I mean,
Absolutely.
Right now, which it should, which is a good thing in the first 6 months. I would say that you're starting. Please limit the number of cases and have gaps of 20 minutes. The 20 minutes is not for time pass, but the 20 minutes between cases is hugely important to make your theater sterile again and COVID free. Yeah, so therefore there is no point in doing 30-40 cases in one half a day session just because you can. You
Sir,
need to
I wish your words come true.
we'll be doing 30-40 cases in the whole day and take.
I think we need to wind up now. Can we have the
hello everyone, here is a small survey.
Go ahead, Parul.
Thank you, sir. So can everyone should go to www.menti.com, and the system will ask you the code. The code is 87353. I'm repeating. Can everyone should go to www.menti.com, and the system will ask you the code. The code is 87353. I will wait for 2 minutes so that everyone can enter in our survey.
I think it was a great interactive session. By the time people are getting ready, I'm sure what I would do is probably before or after we go for the poll, I would want all the speakers to summarize their talk in 3 points. What would be the carry home points they would want the audience to go back home with? 3 or 4 points of their talk. That will really sum it up into a little tablet of compressed juice. So by the time the poll is going on, I would request all the speakers to just compress in their head 3 points they want the audience to go back to.
So let's begin with our survey. So first question is, do you think the worst of COVID-19 is over? I'm getting responses. Let's wait few more minutes. And as Dr. Kapoor said that no. Approx 80% of our participants think that the worst of COVID-19 is not over. So let's move to the next question. Did this webinar answer your unanswered questions? I can see the responses coming in. And it is good to hear that 67% of our participants got their answers. Let's move to the
Arul,
next
I'd just
question.
like to add one thing. I'd just like to add one thing here.
Yeah, ma'am.
I was lucky to be born to a very great man, my father. So he always used to tell me, son, always have an unanswered question. And he used to tell me, always judge a man by not the answers he gives, but by the questions he asks. So if the audience still have unanswered questions, I think we have a great audience.
33%.
Let's move to the next question. The last question. Do you think that eyelid and face hygiene are needed daily in the current COVID scenario? I'm getting responses. And yes, we agree too that eyelid and face hygiene is important than ever before. Thank you so much for attending our survey, and I hope you find it interesting as we did it. Thank you so much.
So you can log us off, Parul, from the live, then we all speakers can have a chat.
Yes.
You don't want to do the summary of 3 points, Kamal?
Yes, of course. But before, I'm just telling you, once we do that, then we can log off and have a discussion. So let's start with, I think I was the first one. 3 carry-home points, which I would tell the audience, all of my friends, is that we all know the reality of COVID. It is here. It will go wherever it will go. So we need to come back to our normal lives. Whatever normal we can make out of the present situation. That's one. Number 2 is we need to have a team who believes that yes, they can be safe and yet deliver to the society at large. And number 3, most important is we need to have our patients actually believe that we are standing for them, and we all this extra paraphernalia, infrastructure, costing we are doing is for their and our safety. Once these 3 things go in a loop or they are synced, I think we'll be back in action. So that's my 3 carry-home points. We need to believe that we need to do whatever we need to do. Our team needs to believe that, yes, it is true that we can be still safe and yet work normally. And the patients need to believe that, yes, we're taking all the care for them, and then things will start coming back to normal. Dr. Neeraj, your 3 carry-home points you want the audience to go back with.
I have basically one carry-home point, and that is that be safe, take all the precautions. Don't worry, even if it is a long surgery. All doctors are taking precautions. We will take precautions for the patients. It may involve little more expenditure, but everybody wants to remain safe. So please, I will request the patients also, from their side also, they should maintain a good hygiene. Before entering the clinic, they should see that they are all in good health and they are doing a proper hygiene. And we at the clinic are definitely doing all these things for them. And remember, like I have got 2 drivers with me. One of the driver was staying home during all this period, and the other driver was coming every day to me. So I told the driver that this is not the time for you to stay home. This is the safest period. Nobody is on the roads. And today when he came back, today he has come back after 1.5 months. He said, sir, you were right. 1.5 months back you said that was a safe time to come. The time are going to remain same. We have to be in the new normal, and this new normal may not change for a long, long time. So let us be very, very careful, do our hygiene things, and leave the rest to the doctors. And be assured, the patient should be assured that the doctors and the hospitals are the safest place to be, because we are taking maximum precautions. You going to a restaurant or going to a roadside dhaba, people, those places are not as safe as we are. So patients should understand that, because especially for big hospital like Gangaram Hospital has 3 branches, and people are scared to come to the big hospital because the other 2 smaller branches are taking care of COVID patients. So I tell my patients, don't be scared to come to the big hospital. We are taking the maximum precautions. Nobody is taking such precautions. The sabji wala, the fruit wala, the stationery store, the roadside street hawker, they are not taking precautions. You should be more careful there also rather than with us. We are definitely taking good precautions with whatever, however we can. Thank you very much.
Dr. Quresh, your carry-on points?
My carry-on point is actually not 3, but just 1. Have the courage to start. For those who have not started, some point you have to start. Have the courage to start. As Kamal said, if you have faith in yourself and your team and you're following the SOP, then the patients will have faith in you, and the practice, I am sure, will build up to near pre-COVID era before the year is over. Thank you.
Absolutely true. Kumar, your point.
First of all, thank you all for giving this opportunity. I have some take-home messages. One is, we have to make sure that our staff has faith in us, that we are looking after them. That's what Kamal pointed out, and it's just a spelling that yes, we have to make sure they are happy. 2, we have to make sure that our patients are sure that we are looking after them.
Absolutely.
If we do things reasonably well, the story will then begin. If we fail anywhere, the whole story is going to collapse. As far as the technique of phaco, I thought the aerosol thing, putting methyl cellulose incision and it takes care of the aerosol, solved all the confusion. And I think as far as the PP is concerned, all of you know to wear a PP is like a sauna. Then you don't need to go to sauna. We all will lose a lot of weight, which is
Absolutely
also a side effect. But I think that this is enough, that what we are doing is pretty good. Patients will have faith. They will ultimately come. Although it's an elective procedure, they will ultimately get it done. So I think this is a fantastic webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Anjani, your carry-on points you want the audience to go back with.
So the carry-home points from my talk, I would say, is that telemedicine, especially in these times, is quite an important tool. The only caveat is that we should be very well informed of what to do and what not to do. So I would urge the viewers to actually go through the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare guidelines. And if we stick to that and trust our clinical judgment, I think telemedicine can be used as quite a good tool.
And I think what they can do is they can use your presentation as a back reference. It actually is the actual spine of the whole basics of teleophthalmology. I'd just like to add to the audience benefit is that we at Sharpsight have been practicing teleophthalmology for last 2 years. I've developed my own apps within the system, and it really eases the patient. We are able to map the patient's Amsler grid. We are able to map their vision loss, their vision. So my app informs me the moment my patient drops his vision, we inform him to come for a PCO, for a YAG, or for a diabetic retinopathy screening. So we've been doing these for a long time, but now since it's officially on, I think we all need to move on to this platform, of course, with under the caveats of the present legal infrastructure. Siddharth, back to you. I think Piyush, we left Piyush. Piyush, your carry-on points.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. My basic carry-on points, everyone has told the same thing, that we should protect ourselves, our patients and everything. But the main thing should be like, we should stay calm right now, stay protected, stay safe, and plan our surgeries and procedures accordingly. And the right time will come to hit back. Definitely the right time will come someday when the working procedures and everything will be normal.
I'd just like to add one thing to what you said, Piyush. Right time will not come. We will have to create it.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, if left to the public and the news media, this thing is going on for a long time. We will need to break the shackles under the right protocols, scientific studies and scientific processes. We need to go out there in the public and demonstrate that we are safe. It's safe to get back to your normal life, because the media will not let it rest. That's their bread and butter. But for their bread and butter. Are we going to let our bread and butter go out of the box?
No.
I won't agree there.
Siddharth, it's all yours.
So thank you
Siddharth,
very much.
back to you. Back to you, Siddharth.
Thanks a lot for everyone for a wonderful webinar, and I think it is very well been viewed across country and also globally in the many other places. People are viewing it with the data that I have. So I must first of all congratulate every one of you for really giving a wonderful presentations. It was very, very insightful, and I'm sure that the kind of enthuse this panel has shown today of managing COVID situation is great. They've got a brilliant ideas. They got a good understanding. And I think as a whole, we should be very, very confident that we would manage COVID situation effectively. On behalf of Wayfarm India, I once again thank you very much for your participation, time, and sharing your views. On behalf of my company, I can certainly assure you that Wayfarm would always be there for any of your initiative, academic initiative in the future, and we will continue to support that. At the same time, whatever we can contribute by bringing some innovation to India, by aligning with some of the foreign companies in India and bringing some good ideas, we are very open. So thank you very much for really making this webinar a great success, and I really appreciate and thank you.
Siddharth, just one point before you close off. Modi ji said, be vocal, be local. No foreign collaborations now.
No, because at many times you need an ideas which are not there. We are suddenly trying to build these products in India. And today, the kind of eyelid segment, that eyelid hygiene, it was not been discussed much in India. So we are the first company to start initiating on the eyelid hygiene. And there are interesting ideas coming up. Dr. Muscati has already spoken about it, eyelid wipes and eyelid cleanser. We have an ideas to bringing you the eyelid sprays, which will make it very comfortable at any given time. You just spray it, and these are very good formulations which can give you a good protection for a longer period of time. So especially in pre-post-op conditions. At the same time, we have many other situations like blepharitis, MGD, dry eye, and all you find them very useful. The products are available: Oculeaf, eyelid wipes, and Oculeaf cleansers now freely. And I'm sure that you'll be experiencing them.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, are we offline?
So we'll just close it now, and thank